The RAFT might be one of the most important cargo ships to hit Star Citizen. Not because of its total carrying capacity, but because of its unique capabilities in hauling cargo. However, this ship may not be for everyone, as it does have its own characteristics. I'll talk about all that and give this ship a practical usability review so you can decide if this is the kind of ship you want to buy. I bought the RAFT with in-game money a while back and have been giving it a good shakedown, despite some shortcomings I'll talk about. I've also been holding off doing this review for a while, but I decided I needed to go ahead and talk about this ship because with the upcoming 3.18 wipe, I'll lose access to the ship, and I often find I want to take a special screenshot of something or take a better video clip after I get into the editing for a video. It just comes with being a content creator. So first, let's talk about this ship's exterior. Because with Star Citizen producing more and more ships, aesthetics and style of ships is becoming more and more of a discriminating factor than a ship's capabilities. I really liked the industrial look of this ship. And even though it does follow the Argo general styling, there isn't another ship that quite has this girder and beam-like construction. With the landing gear down, it looks extremely stable and able to perform its role as a cargo hauler. But with the landing gear up, I was surprised. This ship takes on a surprisingly sleek look, and after flying this ship around for several days, I kind of fell in love with the way it looks in this collapsed landing gear and non-VTOL mode. Let's move from the exterior and just the way it looks though, to the other main feature of this ship that's also on the exterior, which is its cargo. In the rear, on the undercarriage, it has the ability to hold 3 large cargo containers. Each cargo container holds 32 SCU, for a total of 96 SCU of cargo. As I mentioned in the video's opening, it's not the total carrying capacity that makes this ship special. There's plenty of ships that hold that much or more. It's the way it's able to transport those containers. Now, arguably, it's not the only ship that has cargo containers on the outside. The whole series ships have containers on the outside, and even the Aurora in its original advertisements showed some kind of potential to have an exterior container. But this ship seems to do it differently. The devs have expressly said that this ship has been designed from the ground up to quickly pick up whole large cargo containers like this and be able to drop them off with the same ease. You can see by the way these containers hook in with these claws that it should be able to grab the container without the need to move and position a container inside of a ship's cargo hold. In browsing various community comments, some folks felt that these clamps also meant that a mechanical operation would be needed to reach down and attach to the container. I thought that too originally, but that doesn't seem to be the case. This ship is equipped with a tractor beam, and the dev's intent is that the ship's tractor beam will be able to snag the container and draw it up into position, and probably have the same functionality that snaps it magnetically to the ship's grid, just like we'll be getting with other ships in this 3.18 update. This is the ship's unique ability. It would be pretty easy, now that we have tractor beams and physicalized cargo that can be manually moved to a cargo grid, to make a mission, where you go to an outpost, snag up the container, and haul it to a given location. I was even pretty sure that the RAFT in this gameplay would be the first test iteration of the new cargo refactor, but I don't think so now. I think they are first taking a smaller half step in that direction with being able to move the smaller 1 SCU boxes with the handheld tractor beam, to be able to test out the locking of cargo to ship grids and being able to sell those goods at a trade console, and all that. Ship tractor beams might involve other issues and be a future step. Right now, in today's pre-3.18 implementation, the cargo loading, or just blinking in of cargo and moving it, is the same as any other ship. But that will change eventually. So let's move now to the interior that also looks like it'll play into this ship's actual operation. This is a great two-person ship, and they did an excellent job actually setting up every aspect of this ship to support a two-person crew. It has a co-pilot seat up front. From this seat, the co-pilot can control the roof-mounted turret, which holds a nice pair of size 3 guns. You can add 2 size 1 guns to the ship that are usable by the pilot, but realistically, this top turret is the ship's defense capability in terms of returning fire. So this means the co-pilot serves a pretty important role. The ship also comes with 2 beds, which again is perfect for 2 people. And lastly, this ship has a rear control station that overlooks the cargo area. Now, I believe this rear control station is where a person can control the rear tractor beam, move around the cargo, and attach and detach things. I found it a little coy that CIG seemed to skirt the obvious intent of a question around this posed in a Q&A about a second player's role, and didn't expressly mention the ability to manipulate the cargo. But I think the correlation between the control station and cargo loading is obvious for it not to be true at some point. As another usability point, even though the ship is set up well for 2 people, I see no reason why a person playing solo can't use the ship perfectly well. It may just mean having to leave the pilot seat and walk back to the control station to manipulate the cargo. That is still a little speculative because that cargo loading isn't in the game yet, but I'm not seeing any barriers to solo play with the ship in its current setup. The rest of the ship is roomy, with a little kitchen, sitting area, and bathroom, and has a fairly impressive little changing room where you can keep different armors and some guns and gun racks for various weapons. What's also interesting is this forward-facing airlock on the side of the ship. Now, I think this is cool, but given its position, I have a little bit of a hard time seeing how another ship, or maybe even an extending docking chute of some sort, can attach there. But it's still cool, and I guess we'll see how that works later. There's an upper deck to this ship that you can access from the main elevator or an interior ladder, where you'll find a separate engineering section with access to all the ship's components. It does have a nice complement of 2 size 2 components for power plant, cooler, and shields, and they are all Class C industrial components, so there's plenty of room for a player to upgrade or customize the ship. I personally really like the industrial components, and as I showed in a prior video, the manufacturer can have as much or more impact on the performance than the actual class of a component, but folks can certainly configure the ship any way they like. One thing I noticed is the huge quantum fuel capacity of this ship. I could easily fly all the way across the solar system and back on only a sip of the fuel. Part of that was the industrial components, but a big portion was also the fuel capacity. That tells me that this ship is ideally suited to long-haul cargo runs. All of that sounds very positive so far, and I do like the ship, but it has some aspects that might not be for everyone. First, it's slow. Everything about it is slow. It's slow to turn in space or atmosphere. It's slow to accelerate. And when it does get to top speed, it's slow. Even the elevators and doors move and open slowly. If you're a player always in a hurry, sprinting everywhere, trying to interact and do things as fast as possible to min-max your gaming, then this ship is probably not for you. You'll get frustrated. For me, I'm a slow roller in games and take my time, so it didn't bother me that much, but even I noticed that it was notably slow. With its slowness and maneuverability, you'll definitely not want to engage in much combat, even with a turret gunner, as it could be really hard to even keep the turret facing an enemy. It does, however, have excellent armor and damage resistance. I've got controls set up with my joystick and slider that I have a hotkey set to invert my thruster direction, and I sometimes forget to hit that hotkey when I pull a ship back out of storage, and the Raft was no exception. I took off going straight up a good ways, pointed to the stars, hit the thrusters, and proceeded to plunge straight backwards into the planet. I've done this before in other sizable ships like the Freelancer Max, and they almost always immediately exploded. This Raft just damaged one thruster and was still able to leave gravity, fly across a solar system, and get to my destination. So it seems to be a pretty tough ship. Price-wise, the closest ship to the Raft is the Freelancer, which both should be $110 as a standalone ship with new money. Even though, at the time of making this video, a price for the ship was not available on the website. Prices can vary, and it does hold more SCU than the Freelancer's 66 SCU. But I think there's a lot more to consider with this particular ship when it comes to comparing it to others. The slow, sluggish nature of the Raft feels very different to a relatively nimble Freelancer. Even the Freelancer Max, that holds 120 SCU, which is more than the Raft, is much more maneuverable. But then there's that external quick pickup and delivery aspect of the cargo boxes on the Raft that avoids what might be a bit more tedious of a task loading boxes into the interior of both the Freelancers. So there's a lot to consider, and it probably does come down to the gameplay you want. So, should you buy this ship? The answer is yes, but probably not right now, until they get the ability to actually load and unload those external boxes. And it's for the player that wants to go more all-in on cargo hauling, because it's not a particularly good multi-purpose ship. As I stated, it'll be pretty rough to do any combat, and these small hand-carried box delivery missions will be doable, but frustrating due to the slowness of everything about the ship. I think moving forward, this ship will be a really great cargo hauler, and could even play a critical role in loading and unloading ships like the Hull C, with the same large 32 SCU cargo boxes. Its full capabilities, though, have yet to be applied in-game, so I think this ship is one a little better for the watch list. I'll also add that even though it's a bug, I had a heck of a time just getting into and out of the ship due to its malfunctioning elevator. But I was still able to complete several cargo runs with average types of cargo, typically clearing 10 to 12,000 per run. So you can make money with this ship right now. They just need to fix the bug, because it's pretty close to unusable with the elevator not working. I'll be doing a second review of this ship in the future when the cargo loading and unloading aspect comes into the game. But I hope this review helped in some way, because I like doing ship reviews and spending several weeks with each ship, running it through its paces before giving it an assessment. Take care, and I'll be talking to you later.